Hello, Composition Learning Community instructors, and welcome to part one of our instructor orientation for the fall semester 2020. So, if you're watching this, you have signed up to be an instructor in the Composition Learning Community, and I'm so excited that you're here. You're going to see what is so cool about this. If it's your first time, if you're returning, you already know, so welcome back. But we decided to go ahead and make these instructor orientation videos to just give a baseline of hopefully helpful information for you instructors to particularly utilize your peer mentors and plan for the showcase in this online environment that we find ourselves in. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we are all or mostly online this semester in the composition learning community. And what that means is we need to figure out ways to integrate our peer mentors into our online courses. Now, some of us have already done that before, but not all of us have. So I'm just making this video as a refresher to kind of go over the high points of what has worked for me in the past, integrating peer mentors into my online composition courses, particularly English 1010, 1020, and 3010, but this could also apply to 3020, 3050, 3060, or wherever you find yourself teaching online this semester. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to a shared screen view so you can watch my Zazzy PowerPoint in action, and I will talk you through some of the things that are most effective in my experience using peer mentors online. Okay, so how to integrate peer mentors online. I'm just going to go over really quickly some of the key things that have worked for me in the past as I've taught online in the composition learning community and integrated peer mentors into my online classroom, right? Because if we were face-to-face, we would just have our peer mentors come to class, and then we could sort of organically integrate them into group work or, feedback time or whatever. So online, it's similar goals, but obviously it looks different. Engaging regularly with your peer mentors is key. Empowering and facilitating third spaces for your peer mentor to run is also super effective. Allowing your peer mentor and suggesting that they post announcements throughout the semester is helpful, and creating opportunities for them to be visually present in our Canvas sites. So, starting with engagement, strategizing with my peer mentors is key. This means regular meetings or at least regular emails with my peer mentor, and I'm talking like once a week or at the very least bi-weekly. It's best to have like a little Zoom meeting, but email works too because you got to do what you got to do. But in these meetings, this is where I can tell my peer mentor if there's any patterns that I'm seeing develop across the class. My peer mentor can also tell me if they're seeing any patterns develop or if lots of students are having questions about a particular thing. It's just really good for us to sort of create then the game plan. It also allows me to know what to signal boost. When I'm communicating with students, and we do this in the classroom all the time, right? We say, go talk to your peer mentor, make sure you go to office hours with your peer mentor. But if you're creating a video for your online class environment, signal boost whatever your peer mentor has planned for that week. And that will just kind of double up on the exposure and engagement that you can demonstrate for students. But maybe one of the most effective ways to jumpstart students' engagement with peer mentors is to bake them into an assignment, which sounds more gruesome than it is. But what I mean is that if you are, say, having students do work with a text for their rhetorical analysis, create a small scaffolded assignment that asks them to conference with their peer mentor. Or if they're starting the iSearch project, this is hugely helpful. If the peer mentor can look at their question and help them just by giving feedback or saying like, well, what about this? Integrating your peer mentor into actual assignments that have point values attached is hugely helpful to help students see the value of peer mentors. And I like to do it like 1 or 2 times at the beginning of the semester, because then that kind of forces students to interact with their peer mentor. And then once they see how wonderful the peer mentor is, they often will just keep going to the peer mentor as a resource. The third space. This is maybe one of the most steadily effective ways to create an area where your peer mentor can be used as a resource. So this means like using an off-Canvas app like WhatsApp or GroupMe. You could do this. You could have your peer mentor do this in Microsoft Teams, or create Zoom chats with students. They can do like an email listserv and just put all their students on the listserv. You can create a question and answer discussion board that you have the peer mentor like run. Or you can create a question and answer session that you have the peer mentor facilitate like via Zoom. There's so many ways to help your peer mentor create that third space, but it's so key because it helps students air out a lot of questions that they won't bring to us necessarily, but that they feel safer bringing to peer mentors, and also helps facilitate a sense of belonging for the students, in that their peer mentor is going to respond positively to them. And if you have one of these off-Canvas apps, then you can see what your classmates are asking, and it really creates that sense of community that just deepens a student's engagement in the composition process. Okay, announcements. These are really helpful in affirming your peer mentor's spot in the class, right? Like where you're implicitly showing that they have authority to answer questions or to speak into your students' experience. Definitely want to have an introductory announcement for sure with contact information. I'll show an example of that in a second. But also throughout the semester, peer mentors can be posting announcements about, hey, we're starting the iSearch. Here's what worked for me. Here's what I had trouble with. You and your student together can brainstorm a list of frequently asked questions. They don't have to even be like questions students at the moment are having, but like based on your experience as a teacher, from your peer mentor's experience taking this class before, you guys can come up with a list, and the peer mentor could address them all in one announcement or take them in chunks throughout the semester. That could be super useful. If a peer mentor is holding office hours, or if you're holding office hours via Zoom, you can have the peer mentor signal boost that in an announcement. And just separating your voice from the peer mentor's voice can be really powerful for students, so that they get a sense of repetition, and that provides a sense of emphasis. Okay, I think this is the last thing I'm going to talk about. This is visual engagement. So definitely having your peer mentor create a profile that you post in Canvas, like right above or below your own instructor profile. This should include a picture of the peer mentor. So that's something to talk about with your peer mentor, because if anybody has any reasons why they don't want to show their picture or have that posted somewhere, that's important for you to communicate with your peer mentor about. The reason that I like to have my peer mentors put their picture is to help literally personify them for the students, so that they can get a sense of who this person is. I usually have them write a little blurb that introduces themselves and a few of their interests. Here you can see that Clara also put ways to contact her, suggestions for the students. And then what I always say for peer mentors is that then if they decide to go on from there and create videos, that just adds to the visual connection for students. So I will tell peer mentors that, you know, if you make a video, you could talk through your own work, right? And this is something that we can do as instructors. It's like kind of do a screen share, and the peer mentor could say like, oh, here's what I'm doing with my citations. You can have peer mentors read through assignments and talk about what they did. And you can have peer mentors just provide encouragement in a visual, or this would work for announcements. This would work in the third space as well. just any way that we can help our peer mentors engage with students and create that sense of belonging, that is what we're going for. Okay, so I'm going to pull us back to our full view and close out this video. Okay, boom. A lot of tips and tricks for how to integrate your peer mentor into your online classrooms. We just have to remember that our goals for learning are essentially the same, and our goals for integrating peer mentors and creating the sense of belonging and enculturation that we're going for within our composition courses are essentially the same. It's our modality that is different. So rather than developing these areas in class, we have to make sure that we're intentionally setting up methods where peer mentors can develop these connections within our Canvas sites or outside of our Canvas sites, but online. You get it. I'm probably preaching to the choir here. The last thing I was going to say too is that, talk to your peer mentor about the best ways for you to keep in contact with each other. I've had a lot of success giving my peer mentors my cell phone number and kind of creating a chat with them, or setting up something on WhatsApp. That's also been really helpful. Email works fine, but it's been less useful for me personally because it's maybe not quite as timely, and I don't always have access to my email notifications in the same way that I do text notifications. But that's just me. It's what works for me. As we move through this semester, if you have any questions for how to integrate your peer mentor into your online composition courses, please reach out. Send me an email or let me know if you want to chat via Zoom. We can set up something like that as well. All right, I will see you guys in the next orientation video. Bye, everybody.